What's up, people? What's up? Think I'm almost live everywhere. Still coming online on TikTok. Welcome to my live stream. Tonight I'm still working on my password reset feature in this React app that I'm building called DocMe. It's like a doctor's search platform, doctor's search and booking platform. And I'm trying to do this basically a forget password feature. And I've been working on this like 3 nights, I think 3 streaming nights at least in a row. And so now I'm getting close to being almost done. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna be working on here. I'm just basically trying to test it out and fix any lasting bugs that I have left over. So yeah, appreciate y'all joining. And yeah, appreciate you being along for the ride. So this is kind of how it works. You will be on the sign-in page, and if you forgot password, you can click this password or forgot password link, and then here you get this form where you can put in your email address, and I'm gonna put in kg@mailinator.com, and when you submit this, it should send you an email. Okay, so there was an error updating the password reset. So I wonder what happened. So I already found a bug in here already. So I wonder, reset password defines a query, parameter code that is missing. Yeah, I don't know. Requesting a password. Let's see. So we got our first little bug here that I'm going to try to figure out. Let's see. So when I call this, I'm looking at the request level. There's a request. Failed to read. Okay, pre-flight response is not successful. Oh, yeah, I think origin referral. So that's the request. It's the endpoint I'm calling. So is my API down? I wonder. Let's see. Yeah, maybe my API is down. Let me see. Let me try to test it out. Let's see. Yeah, so thanks people for joining. What I'm working on is a React app. I'm trying to do like a forget password feature. And so right now I'm trying to test why this error is popping up here. There was an error sending a request to the requesting a password reset. Please try again. So trying to figure out like at the API level, like what's the issue. So yeah, I'm trying to figure it out using Postman, figure out if my API is still running. So I got a Node Express API on the back end that handles the request of resetting a password, as far as setting up a code like a validation code in the database, and sending an email to the user letting them know that they can reset their password. And so this isn't working for some reason, so I'm trying to figure that out. So this page here is supposed to hit my back end, send an email, and then send an email, set up a code in the database, and then send an email to let the user know that they can reset their password. So I don't know why that's not working. Let me try it out here and see what happens. It's like maybe something's wrong with my API. Yeah, it's like, okay, so my API is maybe not running or something. Let me log into, I'm gonna log into my Windows server and figure out what's going on. So I have a Node.js, Express.js web API running, and so it should be running on this Windows server, which the Windows server is a VM or not VM, but well, I guess it is a VM. I don't know. However, it runs on GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So this is where I'm running the Node application as well. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on with it. Somebody said the account locked out. No, I don't think so. Good question though, but I think it's the API. I mean, I just checked. It's the API endpoint is failing. So here, this endpoint is returning a 502 bad gateway. So it makes it seem like the whole thing isn't running. Let me slide this over so y'all can see. So I'm on my Windows server here now, and I have this thing called PM2, which shows everything I have running. So I have these 4 things running. Yeah, DocMe API is running. It's a Node application and it's running. So why am I getting a 502 error? So I wonder if any of these work. Yeah, so some of these endpoints work. It's just this new endpoint doesn't work. I wonder why that is. With any good resources on understanding APIs? I've been trying to learn all day. Oh man. Yeah, there's a bunch of resources. I would say pluralsight.com. If you're looking for paid resources, pluralsight.com is always great. In Python. Yeah, pluralsight.com is great to learn anything pretty much. Yeah. So that's what I would probably recommend, Pluralsight for the paid resource. YouTube, of course, man, is always like YouTube's underrated. I feel like sometimes it doesn't get mentioned in the list of things to learn. It's not like directed learning. You have to kind of find what you want yourself. But yeah, it's always like YouTube is underrated for sure, as far as like following somebody working on something and get them to teach you. If you're a visual learner, it's pretty good. But yeah, there's a bunch of like resources out there to learn. Just you need to learn the basics first. You need to learn like how the internet works and how request works and REST, like the REST protocols and like how all that stuff works before you start working, in any particular framework. But yeah, anyway, yeah, something is wrong. See if I can figure it out. DocMe API password, reset password request. So, and yeah, somebody said, yeah, you run it in I'm not running it in, it's not a Docker image or anything like that. I'm running Kubernetes. I'm just simply, like, this is a super simple architecture. Like, I haven't scaled it up. I haven't done any scaling or anything like that. Like, this is very early for this system. I'm not gonna scale it up until it goes live and goes over maybe like 100 users, and then I'll start working on scaling it up. But right now, it's on one server instance. There's not any like I'm not using Docker images. I don't have pods. Like I don't have horizontal scaling, anything like that. And I'm not planning to do that. I'm not planning to like prematurely optimize. I'm gonna optimize when it is necessary to do so. I'm a one-man team, so I'm not, I don't have people. I can't do everything. I don't have people to like do all that kind of like all that kind of stuff. So I have to work the smartest I can. But yeah, is the body of request format? I think it is, man, because that's a good question though, because I had this saved in Postman, so it worked last time I was on here. I think what happened is like before I went to sleep last time, I 3 days ago I updated a new I uploaded a new version, and I have my CI/CD, or I have my continuous deployment set up here. So as soon as I check in, it deploys it. I think something happened during the deployment where that in particular endpoint something went wrong with it. So let me look at my GitHub and remember what was the last thing I checked in. It's just changing this code. Yeah, I just changed this URL, and then I did change this. But no, that was fine. So yeah, all I did was change the reset code here. Yeah, this is called regression issue. It definitely regressed. Somebody said just use Chegg. What's Chegg? Chegg? The book renting place? Or like the place where you rent books? I use Chegg. I used this thing called Chegg in college to rent textbooks, but I'm old, man. I haven't been in college in like 9-10 years, so I don't know. Maybe Chegg is like have digital books now or something like that. But there's so many resources. I don't even want to point you at a resource. You need to find a resource that you to learn stuff like this. Start from I give more advice than finding resources. I would say you need to oh, somebody said I'm missing something on the end of the code. Maybe. Matter of fact, yeah, let me go check the code actually. This is the code for the API, and I think I scrolled down too far. And that's the reset path. This is the so it's not missing anything here. Let me I know what I can do. I can run this locally. So I'm gonna stop running this. And I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna test that just the code works. Just do some trouble. This is like troubleshooting to just reduce the number or filter out issues, or what's the word? Rule out certain issues. So I'm gonna rule out if there's something wrong with the API by running the API locally on my machine and then testing it out. Barrel 2 said JavaScript greater than. Yeah, man. I'm like right now in my career and in my life and professionally and personally, I'm just like all for JavaScript right now. I've worked with C# in the past. I've worked with PHP. I've worked with C++. I worked with Objective-C when I was doing mobile development in Swift. But right now I've been using JavaScript on the front end and on the server side with Node for like the past 2 years or so. So I'm just kind of in this point in my career where I'm just like really going all in on JavaScript. And then I'll move on to something else. But I'm pretty agnostic when it comes to tech. Like I like to learn new languages and new tech all the time. So it's never going to be a situation where I'm like allegiant to some sort of, technical stack. But yeah, so now I'm going to test out my endpoint here. Yeah, I'm going to request the password to this and see what happens. Yeah, so it was successful. And I should get an email. Yeah, reset your password for DocMe. And this is what I was looking for. And then when I click on that, it takes me to my reset password page with a code on it. And that's what it should do. So you're in the email, you hit reset password, you go to the reset password page. But I didn't get an email when I tested it in my production environment. So yeah, I got to figure out what the heck is wrong with it. But I'm sure I will. I hope I do, since people watching me. I hope I figure it out soon here. But I think I will. I got faith. So I ruled out that there's a problem with the code. There's not a problem with the code because when I run it locally, it works. So I'm actually going to stop running this locally. And I got these on the same port. That's why I keep stopping. I'm like running the web app and then I run the mobile app. Yeah, you might need to re-auth with your G Cloud environment variables. Perhaps they time out. Yeah, that's a good point. It could be like a token or key issue that some of you guys are saying. Steven, appreciate the comment. NA6087, appreciate that. TypeScript's greater than JavaScript. TypeScript is greater than JavaScript in certain scenarios. Yes, it definitely is. Typed language over untyped language definitely can be advantageous, especially you have a big team, you have a bunch of data models, you're having issues with having a lot of type issues, then that's where TypeScript comes in handy. I wouldn't just use it for everything, and that's just my opinion. I would, if the app is simple enough, I wouldn't put the overhead of TypeScript into something that's very simple, that doesn't have the problems that TypeScript solves. That's the only thing I'll say. But other than that, yeah, TypeScript is amazing. But untyped languages are cool too, like JavaScript, PHP. It just depends. On the server, I think TypeScript on the server side is probably like super valuable, especially for people coming from like C# or Java. They love TypeScript because it's statically typed. Somebody said something I want to try Nest.js on the server side. That's one thing I haven't tried. So I said I actually don't like TypeScript. If you want a type language, pick one. TypeScript feels half-assed. Yeah, that is a common opinion in the community. I'm in the middle. I'm like agnostic, so I'm like, I like almost everything, and I like to pick the right tool for the job. But I feel like some people, because the industry is like TypeScript, people just blindly use TypeScript like it's the answer to everything. And it's not. It's a tool that solves certain issues that come with untyped JavaScript, where like you have these teams and everybody's doing different stuff, and you don't know what you're passing in props and variables into functions, and you don't know what the types are, and it's causing issues when things are null, or you're passing in a number, and then another developer thinks it's a string, and then you start, because it's not typed, you're causing all these issues. And then TypeScript have other advantages too, but you can model your data properly and really have control over that. You can create these data models. But for like certain apps, man, if you write the JavaScript correctly, it's not advantageous to add the complexity. There's a trade-off to use and add TypeScript to a problem. There's a compilation step that you have to deal with if there's any issues with compiling it, because TypeScript isn't JavaScript. It compiles down to JavaScript at build time. So there always could be issues with that. And there's added complexity inherently in doing so. But yeah, you guys are just haters. TypeScript is superior. Hey man, I'm not even gonna argue with you, man, because like I could see like people. I've been burned by JavaScript, man. So, and everybody has that's used it long enough. So I'm not. I never would argue against TypeScript or argue for it. What I argue against is just blindly not just a TypeScript thing, but anything. Any technology or language, just blindly using it. The people that are just blindly using it because they just hear it's just hot. It's just a hot term. TypeScript like you just blindly use it on any project and every project. Like, think about what you're gonna use in the problem you need to solve, and think ahead to the future problems you're gonna have to solve. That's the only thing I say. Rest in peace, jQuery. I don't even hate on anybody that's still using jQuery, man. Like. But let me get back to work, man, because y'all have these great comments, and like it just sends me into like discussion mode, and I just want to answer all this stuff. And I'm just it reminds me when I was working in the office, we'd be sitting there trying to work, and like somebody would bring up something, and we'd be talking about it for like 3 hours straight about especially the TypeScript conversation. Man, that came up so much at work. But I love it, man. I love it. Let me see. Trying to figure out this issue. Let me try to run it one more time and maybe see if I see something that has me thinking, that can help me think through this. And I got so much crap in the way here. I can't see what I'm doing. Let me see. Close all this stuff, man, because I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody gave me a suggestion last time to organize my folders, and it has helped organize my Postman folders. I had like 100 requests in here. Now I got them in like folders for local versus production, and I have them divided by patient and doctor endpoints. So for people that just joined, this app is like a doctor and patient platform where patients can log in, or they don't have to log in, but they can search for doctors and they can book appointments with them, and they can, give reviews, and doctors can put their practices up on there to they'll pay for the service to be on here, and they'll be able to like put their availability and get people to patients to subscribe. I'm saying subscribe. Patients to like book a doctor and health appointments with them, stuff like that. So that's the gist of what this application does. Yeah. So I'm doing this update. Yeah, this reset password request. This endpoint is failing. What the heck? Now the endpoint works. You know what I think it was? I think it was so I'm in the process. Somebody like asked me why am I using Windows Server to host the app, and it just came out of just quickly building this. I already had this. I put like a lot of my freelance work on this Windows Server because it has a GUI to easily. I can just like if you know Windows, you can use Windows Server without as opposed to a Linux box where you have to like SSH in and do all this stuff like through the command line. Windows Server, I can just go in the file system and just drop a static website into the file system quickly. And I can set up the HTTP and all that stuff easily. The domains, I can set up the reverse domain proxying and all that stuff really easily using ISS in Windows Server instead of like having to set up these like scripts to do it in like a Linux environment. So I use it for all my client websites. I don't need much resources for client websites because most of them don't take off. Unfortunately, most businesses in the US and around the world, they fail. And I'm not trying to be morbid. That's just the truth. Like, what did they say? Like 50% businesses or something fail in like the first blah, blah, blah years. So a lot of them don't end up getting a lot of traffic. So while I don't want to spin up a bunch of Google Cloud Platform instances for everybody's website. Now we have a few of them that do go up in traffic, and then I will like scale them up and put them in their own like Linux instances, and then start to horizontally scale them. Yeah, somebody's talking about time to containerize, and yeah. So I do that when it calls for it as far as like the traffic of a particular platform. But if the websites are small, they're getting like less than 100 visits a week or something like that, then I just throw them all on the same server. Work smarter, not harder. There's no point in me spinning up a bunch of servers, spending more money for websites that aren't getting much traffic. So that's kind of my reasoning to it. I could spending a lot of time on that doesn't make me more money. It just wastes my time, and I feel cool like I did all this stuff, but it's not helping me make any money. It's not optimizing my time efficiently. So, but yeah, like that is the right thing to do. If you expect scale or something has scaled up, then yeah, you either use like Kubernetes and horizontally scale with Kubernetes pods and automatic horizontal scaling, or you can use like AWS that has scaling system built in, or GCP, Google Cloud Platform, which it sits on top of Kubernetes and does the same thing. You get basically containerize it with Docker containers or some other container system or whatever it's called, platform, and containerize everything, and then you can horizontally scale pretty easily. But yeah, this app is not to that point yet, and it will be, I hope, but it's not to that point. There's no reason in me spending a lot of time on that right now. But to get back to why I think this didn't work, is that I do need to take this off a Windows server, because what happens is every time this Windows server restarts, sometimes the Node app, the API on here doesn't restart properly. And so PM2 is supposed to automatically restart it. But sometimes I don't know why. Sometimes it just doesn't work. So what I think my guy Omar, somebody on here probably Omar, suggested was a couple things that I probably am gonna move to. I'm probably not gonna do like a bunch of horizontal scaling, but I probably am gonna move into like using Nginx and then like as the uh, proxy layer, and then putting it on like a Linux instance in GCP. And Windows, man, everybody hates Windows, man. Like, and the reason why I use Windows Service to really give y'all the answer is because at my first company, they were a Microsoft shop. We use Microsoft SQL, MS SQL. We use ASP.NET. Then we use ASP.NET Core. And we deployed to Windows instances because it was a Windows shop. We use all Windows everything. We use Visual Studio. We use ASP.NET. We use C Sharp. Everything was Microsoft and Windows use. So the server level was, even before we moved, we weren't on the cloud at first, so we used Windows Server, and then we would even when we moved to the cloud, you can set up Windows. You don't have to always use Linux. You can set up Windows Server instances on Google Cloud Platform or on AWS if you like to use their GUI. Like they have a visual. It's like, to me, it's beautiful. You have a visual way to look on the server and do things. They have like, just like regular Windows, they have Windows Server, which is an OS that allows you to manage the server. I like it. I mean, I'm not a big command line guy. That's just me. I don't care what people. A lot of people like, hey, why you don't use command line? I don't care, man. I don't feel cooler as a developer using that. I don't care. I like it. I mean, we're supposed to be making things easier, so it's easier for me to look at something. But I will say that as far as the norm in industry is to use Linux. At work, I use like Linux instances and for everything I do. We don't use, my newer company or whatever that we got bought. They don't use any Windows servers at all. So I don't always do that, but I am. Oh yeah, you can do it on Linux too. People opt out for cost simplicity. NA6087. Can you tell me? You just said that. Can you what is the GUI on Linux? Like, I would like to know. I know you're right. I just want to. I'm just interested in what you're. Because I probably would install it, honestly. Because the level of stuff I do personally is different from the level of stuff I do in my day job. So I don't need to pre-optimize everything. I can take the hit of having a GUI, in for the things that that I don't need to scale up yet. Oh, it depends on the distro. Usually multiple choices. I'll look into it for sure. But yeah, I think it worked. I think when I logged into here, that's why the API started working. Because as soon as I logged into here, the PM2 started the my Node instance. And once I opened this up, it was enabled. And remember, when I opened this up, I was looking to see if this DocMe API was running. And it is. The Node, it's a Node. Node is like a JavaScript runtime for the server side. And so it was running my API here as soon as I logged in. As soon as I opened the instance up, it did it. So now it's working. So I think now I can go back, and I'm going to stop talking so much and do some more work here soon. But I think it's valuable to talk through some of this stuff. Some good comments here. How do you feel about being black in tech? Man, dude, that question, that's too much. That's a deep question, man. Like, D-Way asked on Instagram. Yeah, I don't normally, I don't think about it too much day to day. I will say that I'm usually the only black person on my team. There has been times in my career when occasionally there was one more black person. As far as programming team, like my development team, I'm usually only a black person on the team, but it's fine. But I do wish there were more black people in tech. So that's one of my reasons for being on here, is to get everybody more into tech, not just black people, but everybody, but especially black people, because I think in our community sometimes it's getting more popular now, but sometimes tech wasn't really brought up when I was younger as a valid career opportunity. So I think now black people are getting more into especially the IT side of tech, cybersecurity and networking. But it's still not many black people getting into programming, I think, like black programmers, which I'm specifically in, software development. But I'm just glad like more black people and more minorities and everything are getting more into tech. I'm glad like all people are getting into tech more. I think it's very valid, lucrative, you know, field that's growing and will constantly grow to the end of our times, the end of times. We will get more increasingly more important, and it will be increasingly more money in it, and eventually it'll be one of the it's just gonna be just huge, man. So it's never too late to get started on it. It is not oversaturated. If you think that you're tripping, because it's not at all. These companies are actively trying to hire people. Not hire people. I don't know why I say holler people. What am I talking about? They're actively trying to hire people, and there's a shortage of people to hire because the people learning it are not keeping up with the demand. Because you got to think about it. Even these companies, these car companies need internet now. They're like, think about Ford. They used to just build cars. Now they build cars, electric cars with that are internet connected, that need software on them in the cars. They need UIs. They need developers to work. So like even these industries that you think don't need it, even like building refrigerators, Westinghouse or Frigidaire, they have software in their fridges now. They have UIs. Like, so every industry is going to be connected to tech eventually. And so, you know, it's going to keep growing. So the people are not going to keep up with the demand. And yeah, in the government, I know a lot of people mentioning government, public sector stuff on here. It feels saturated. I know it does, man, because it's getting so popular. It's like a cool thing to do now, but it really is not. Like I just stopped managing my team. I didn't like it, so I stopped managing. But when I was hiring people, like, and it's hard to find people. Like it seems like there's a lot, but like, and there is a lot of people getting into it, but it's just not as many as the demand is calling from. And I know this is gonna sound crazy to people that are like trying to interview and finding a hard time, people not calling them back and da da da. Cause yeah, the tech industry, there's a gatekeeping mentality to it, and it's sad, but it's true. Like a lot of people that are interviewing, they want to make sure you go through the same hard process that they went through. And so, yeah, Simone, will you be saving this live? Yes, I will. So yeah, feel free to pop in, pop out. Like I don't mind. Like I'm glad that anybody pops in and comments at all on this stuff. So, but yeah, the industry is just definitely growing, and it's not keeping up with the demand. But to say that, but don't think that you can shortchange it. I think that's the problem. Like people think it's like saturated because they think that you can just get in it and just like learn a few things and just get a job. Like these interviews, tech interviews are some of the hardest to me, like of all jobs. They're some of the hardest interviews to do. You can't bullcrap your way through it. There is right or wrong. Like I'm not trying to downplay other jobs, but like, like typical interview, they're going to ask you about your experience. It's easy to answer questions about your experience, but when they give you a coding challenge in an interview, and if you don't know it and you can't do it, you just can't do it. Like you can't rely on your experience sometimes. You just have to study. It sucks. I don't like it, but that's what it is. And even if you're doing cloud, let's say you're a cloud practitioner, you got the certification, and you want to get into networking, you want to be like a DevOps, you want to work with AWS every day as your job, you don't want to do programming. So yeah, you might not get coding challenges, but you're going to get some AWS challenge or something like that. You're going to get, at least have to talk through how to build something, and you can't bullcrap your way through it. Like you have to either learn it on your own through experience, or you have to Sorry, you have to learn through experience, or if you're just starting out, you have to build some stuff on your own to like. You have to learn it, you have to study it. You have to know these definitions and know how stuff works. So, yeah, man. Yeah, no, and yeah, the soft skills. Yeah, don't forget the soft skills either. Like that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm interviewing as like a clerk or something, yeah, there's some hard skills to know, like a secretary or something. There's a lot of hard skills to know, but they're gonna ask you a lot of like behavioral type stuff. They're gonna ask you like, how would you act in this situation? What's the best? What was time you were successful? What are time you were not successful? And how'd you handle it? And then they're gonna ask you, yeah, how do you do your job and blah blah blah. But they're more or less trying to figure out your like experience and behaviors and stuff. But in tech, they're gonna ask you that stuff too. They're not gonna. You're still gonna have to answer all that stuff right, but then you're gonna have to show your technical skills as well. Like so, it's one of the hardest to me. Have the hardest interview processes. So just because it's not saturated, it may feel like that way because it's hard to get the jobs. The jobs are out. People they like struggling to fill the jobs because they're not gonna just let anybody into the job. So you can't escape the grind. You can't run from the grind. That's my whole point in saying all this stuff. But like I'm all off the topic, man. But yeah, I think it's good because I think it's great discussion. And that's what I do on here half the time anyway, is just talk through here. If you want to see more direct coding, that's my coding challenges stuff. This is more like software development discussion while I'm working. Anyway, so but let's get back to it. So yeah, this is working now. So I should receive, and I'm sorry I'm switching screens crazy. I should receive an email at this point. Oh no, I didn't receive an email. What did I send this to? Yeah, it should. It says successful. I should have received the email here. This was 24 minutes ago. That was the first one I sent. So back to inbox. So why didn't this work? Doctor reset password request. And then this is production. And the email must be failing for some reason. This is successful. See, this isn't working for some reason. But then, yeah, I don't know why this isn't working. Let me try it out again here and see if try to figure out what's going on with it. I knew this was gonna happen though. When it looked like everything was working. Yeah, so now the API is working. Please check your email to reset your password. But I'm not getting the emails. Oh, I did get an email. So I don't know why I didn't get an email when I call the API. Maybe they're backed up. I don't know. But oh, maybe I have no idea. And I really don't care. Like, I'm just glad it worked for my app. So then when I click this, it sends me to the reset password page. So yeah, that's looking good. So this is the local version of my app. I'm going to try this all out on the production version of my app, which is here. So this is the home screen for your people just joining, or that this is a this is how the homepage of the mobile app looks. You can search for a doctor, search for like a dentist, or just say enter in your postal code, and it's like giving away my freaking zip code here. And then you can find your insurance carrier in here too. I got all the insurance carriers in here. Dynamic Healthcare Dental, and then it'll help you find. And right now this isn't working properly, but I'm still working on that part. But like I have like a little cheat here. If I just search, it'll give you a list of doctors. Click on the doctor. You have availability. Then you can book with that doctor. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But what I've been working on the last couple nights, with crazy enough, is just the password reset feature. I've been working on this thing for like, I don't know, too long. I think I'm like doing it slower because I've been doing it live. Like it does go slower because I start talking about crap. And it's like hard to think and work and talk at the same time. But I like it though, because it like, I don't play on my phone when I talk to y'all. I don't like play on my phone so much. Oh, I meant to click forgot password. I'm tripping. So let's just say I forgot my password. I have this forgot password feature, and then I can enter in the email. And y'all are getting a chance, Mailinator. Y'all are getting a chance to see this, how this works live for the first time. Please check your email to reset your password. I should get an email. A new email. Yep, just now. This is what the email looks like. Mailinator kind of messes up the formatting, but this would look a little bit better than this, but I think it looks okay. Then it's like it gives you instructions like this is how you reset your password. It only lasts 10 minutes. And then you click reset password and you get redirected to this page that actually lets you reset the password. It has a code on it. And it will only work with this code, and it only work for 10 minutes from the point you set to reset the password. You can only get this code from your email by clicking on the link there. So, patient, appreciate it. Somebody said that's dope. Appreciate you joining, saying that. And so, yeah, I can click that I'm a patient or doctor. That's a little bit added security as well. I guess it's kind of it's not really direct security, but it's security through obfuscation. And then I'm going to change my password to something else. This really isn't that complicated yet, but your password was reset. It blanks out all these fields. Go to the sign-in page. And it tries to prompt you to save your password. I don't want to do that. Now I should see if I should sign in. Dang, this is the first time it actually worked all the way through on my production version of the app. Or it's like a beta version, really. Password. Yeah, so now it logged me in. And with the new password I made. So that was great. I'm gonna log back out though. And go back to sign in. Yeah, so that was great. That worked, man. I appreciate everybody that was with me the last couple nights I was working on this. It's good to see it working all the way through, for sure. So you can read the patient type from the URL parent. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like I probably would. I added that patient field to kind of get around it, but yeah, you're right. Like I need to keep the state of like what they were from the point that they tried to reset their password. To make it easy, so when they come and reset it, they don't have to select password or patient. Like I totally agree. They do have to select it. They do have to select it when they sign in. You have to say if you're a patient or doctor. That's part of the requirements for the application. That was like not really my choice specifically, but the client wanted it to be like that, and it kind of makes sense. It makes sense because like ZocDoc is a competitor to this, and that's how it works with them. They actually have it on two separate pages though. Like you have to pick which you are, so it knows how to sign you in. So it's kind of normal. But yeah, this is working. So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna end it here. Now this is working. I'm right now I need to wrap this up and send an update about it to our customer. And I'm not going to show that on screen. So I'll probably just end it tonight and get back on here tomorrow or sometime this week with a coding challenge or something else. How does this side project usually work? The client give you a time frame. Yeah, you get a time frame. There's payments and there's updates and there's sometimes there are revisions and sometimes there's changes in the process. We had a few changes in this process. This has been a long running one, but we're getting very close to being done. And I'll probably share some more when it's live and people can use it. And yeah, we have a contract and yeah, it's pretty official. But we do good work, and at least I think we do, and I think it's gonna be a really cool platform when it's done and it's live. So yeah, appreciate you asking that. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So let me see when I sign in. Let me see if I have any I can walk y'all through some of this. Eliminator. And sign in. This wasn't right. And yeah, so this is so the reason this looks kind of like a mobile app, because I'm going mobile app first, or responsive mobile first design. And I eventually will make this more desktop friendly, but most traffic nowadays comes from mobile apps, from mobile phones, even on the browser. So should always develop your apps to be mobile friendly first, or mobile first, or at least responsive, because most users on the internet are now accessing web content from their phones more than it crossed over. Like maybe 5 years ago, the desktop versus mobile traffic crossed over as became the majority. And so that's why a lot of companies have had to switch to a mobile first approach to all their design. So this actually looks like how the mobile app looks as well. It has the same kind of style, and I wanted it to be that way. But yeah, so then you have appointments, and so now you can search. So let's say I search for doctor here, and I decide I want to book at 10 a.m. on Monday, and I say I want your dentistry, and I just want to get a filling, and I book, and success you book, you receive an email soon, and then it puts it in my appointments list here as the booking I have on Monday, and I can click on it. I can actually edit it, which will update the doctor and all of that good stuff, or I can just cancel it. This should be cancel instead of delete, honestly. But yeah, so yeah, it's a pretty cool platform. It's a very simple platform to start, but this is gonna be like the basics. Yeah, it says, well, not always check your users. Some may not be desktop first. Yeah, I'm not saying that all users are gonna be desktop. I'm saying that your development, you should prioritize mobile. The mobile first term is saying to prioritize mobile development over desktop development, because most of your general consumers are going to be using mobile. It's not saying to leave desktop out for sure. No. But as a one-man development team, I have to work smarter and not harder. I have to prioritize things because I cannot do everything. So what I chose to do is prioritize the mobile development over desktop. But I for sure am not expecting every user to be mobile. So, but if they come on this page and the desktop, it's not unusable for sure. It's just not optimized for desktop. But yeah, some apps should be desktop from once I did. Yeah. You're good. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a great point. Like if you did this for a logistics company, it probably was a bunch of reporting and graphs and stuff like that. Those type of applications probably should be desktop first. Yes, because those users are going to be desktop first. So I get what you mean. Like your user. Yeah, I should be more clear about that. That's a good point. You have to, it depends on your users. These are general consumers. These are like your normal people that are setting up these appointments. And so, yeah. So I get what you mean too. NA6087. Sorry, I kind of misunderstood you there for a second. But yeah, I get exactly what you're talking about. Like, I have to specify that my user base is a general people that need doctor's appointments, which is pretty much everybody that's like above the age of that are booking their own doctor's appointments, like above the age of 18 probably. And so, yeah. But yeah, in the situation, if I'm building an app for some company that they're going to be using on desktop machines at the job to look at reports or something like that, you have to know your user. And some users, yeah, if they're looking at graphs and stuff, they're most likely only gonna look at it on desktop from their work computers. So that is a great point. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, somebody said leak code, please. I'm gonna do some more leak code this week. That probably I kind of switch. I'm going back and forth. My last live was leak code, and then this live has been real life development, or like code me or whatever you want to call it. I don't really put any tight names on stuff, but yeah, my next live will be leak code again. So please subscribe, people. Join. Like, I don't even know how to say all this stuff. Share, subscribe, like, whatever platform you're on. If you're on Twitch, thank you for joining. If you're on YouTube, thank you for joining. Especially my folks on TikTok and Instagram, and Facebook as well. Please, like, subscribe so you can keep in touch and keep track of the stuff when I go live. And I also post other content too. I post reels and TikToks, and I share content about the stuff I'm working on, as well as just like funny meme type stuff. Meme, I know it's meme, but I don't even know what the heck I'm trying to say. Meme type stuff. I post meme type stuff. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let it go with that. I appreciate y'all joining, and I will see y'all in the next live stream or in the DMs or something.